Start a video. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to share a story that's been on my mind, a story that redefines what it means to be a fighter. It is about a man who faced the kind of darkness that would make most of us give up, but instead he found a new way to see. Imagine this. You're at the top of your game, a professional boxer, feared and respected. The ring is your world, your sanctuary. Then, in an instant, it's all taken away. An accident robs you of your sight. The world goes black. Doctors, specialists, they all say the same thing. Your career is over. Your own coach, the person who stood by you through thick and thin, calls it suicide to even think about stepping back into that ring. Everyone you trust tells you to hang up the gloves to accept this new limited reality. But what if you can't? What if the fire inside you burns hotter than the darkness outside? This is where our story truly begins. For this man, boxing wasn't just a job. It was his identity. It was proof that he was alive. And he refused to let that proof be erased. He wasn't fighting for a title, for money, or for fame. He was fighting to prove to himself and to the world that he was still there. So, how does a blind man fight? He learns to see with his other senses. He began a grueling, almost impossible training regimen. The gym, once a familiar landscape, became a foreign territory he had to remap. He trained by sound, not by sight. The snap of a jab, the rhythmic hiss of breath, the subtle shuffle of feet on the canvas. Each sound became a brushstroke painting a picture in his mind. His trainer, initially skeptical, saw the unyielding determination in his eyes that could no longer see him. They developed a new language. A tap on the shoulder meant duck. A specific whistle meant pivot. His sparring partners were confused at first. How could they fight someone who couldn't see jiu-jitsu punches coming? But they soon learned. He didn't see the punches. He felt them. He felt the shift in the air, the slight change in pressure as a glove sliced internet space where his head was. He felt the vibration through the floor as his opponent shifted their weight for a powerful hook. He was fighting in a world of complete darkness, but his focus, his inner vision, was sharper than ever. His mind became a supercomputer, processing Tokjo distance and intention from the faintest of clues. Every sparring session was a lesson in this new sensory language. He took hits. Surya Gran, he got knocked down. There were days of frustration, of despair, where the darkness felt overwhelming. Days when he'd trip over the ropes or swing at empty air. The doubts would creep in, whispering the same words the doctors had said. But then he would remember why he was doing it. He wasn't just training his body. He was reforging his spirit. The day of the fight arrived. The buzz of the crowd, the smell of rosin, the heat of the arena lights. It was all familiar, yet profoundly different. As he walked to the ring, Saramdal murmured. They saw a blind man being led to his own destruction. They saw a tragedy, a spectacle. They didn't see the warrior who had been forged in darkness. His opponent was younger, faster, and could see every move, every opening. The odds makers didn't even give him a chance. It was a foregone conclusion. When the bell rang, the arena Zhao Yin faded into the background. For him, there were only two things in the universe: himself and the sounds his opponent made. He didn't see the man across from him. He felt him. A subtle exhale. He knew a jab was coming and slipped it. A slight drag of a foot on the canvas. He anticipated a right cross and parried. The first few rounds were a masterclass in defense. He moved like a phantom, bobbing and weaving, using the sounds of the fight to create a three-dimensional map in his mind. The crowd was bewildered. His opponent was frustrated, swinging at shadows, hitting nothing but air. He was landing punches, sure, but our hero absorbed them, using each impact to gather more data, to refine his mental image of the man in front of him. He was a living sonar, pinging his opponent with his own movements and reading the echoes. By the middle rounds, he started to go on the offensive. He wasn't throwing wild haymakers. Every punch was calculated, aimed at where he knew his opponent would be, not where he saw him. The air moved, jab. The floor vibrated, hook. He was fighting a battle no one else could understand. He was fighting in darkness, but his soul, his spirit, was pure, incandescent light. As the fight wore on, his body began to fail him. He was bruised, bleeding, exhausted. He had taken punishment. The darkness he lived in was now filled with pain. His coach screamed instructions, but he could barely hear him over the pounding in his own ears. He was running on fumes, on pure willpower. Going into the final round, he was behind on the scorecards. Everyone knew it. His body was done, but his spirit, that fire that had been lit in the darkest of times, refused to be extinguished. He had come too far. He had proven he was alive, but now he wanted to prove he could still win. He gathered everything he had left. All the training, all the pain, all the belief. He listened. He waited. He felt his opponent gather himself for a final onslaught, sensing his victory was near. In that split second of overconfidence, his opponent dropped his guard, just for a moment. It was all the opening he needed. He felt the shift. He heard the intake of breath. He didn't think. He just reacted. He threw one last punch. A perfectly timed, perfectly placed uppercut launched from the depths of his being. It connected with a sickening thud that silenced the entire arena. The crowd collectively gasped. They watched in disbelief as his opponent's eyes rolled back and he hit the mat. Hard. For a moment, there was absolute silence. The only sound was the referee's count. 1, 2, 3. It was over. Then, the silence shattered. A roar erupted from the crowd, a wave of thunderous applause that shook the building. They weren't cheering for a boxer anymore. They were cheering for the human spirit. He stood in the center of the ring, his chest heaving, his face a mask of exhaustion and triumph. He couldn't see the crowd on its feet. He couldn't see his opponent on the canvas. He could only feel the vibrations of Jejik applause, the energy of their disbelief and admiration. He slowly raised his glove-covered hands, a whisper escaping his lips, a message to himself and to the world. I may be blind, but I still see victory. This story isn't just about boxing. It's a powerful reminder that our limitations are often just perceptions. The darkness we face, whether it's a physical disability, a mental health struggle, or a devastating setback, doesn't have to be the end of our story. It can be the beginning of a new one, a story where we learn to see with our hearts, to fight with our souls, and to find light in the most unexpected places. What we perceive as our greatest weakness can sometimes unlock our greatest strength. His blindness forced him to develop his other senses to a level that no sighted fighter could ever comprehend. He turned his tragedy into his ultimate advantage. So, whatever darkness you might be facing in your own life, remember this story. Remember that you have senses and strengths you haven't even discovered yet. Don't let anyone, not even yourself, tell you that your fight is over. Learn to listen, to feel, to navigate by the light within, because victory isn't always something you see with your eyes. Sometimes it's something you feel with every fiber of your being. Thank you so much for watching, and for letting me share this incredible story with you. If it resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Let me know in the comments what you think. What's the biggest obstacle you've ever overcome? I'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, keep fighting your good fight.